Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Motivational speaker, the comeback coach, and goal crusher Joe Rivera brings you inspiring leaders, incredible stories, and valuable lessons on how you can change, grow, and reforge your life. Now, here's your host, Joe Rivera.
What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Reforge Your Life Show. I'm your host, Joe Rivera. And here at the Reforge Your Life Show, we like to show you that the comeback is more than possible. And today I'm super excited about the guest that I'm bringing to the show. Y'all are going to love her energy and she's going to inspire you. She's a intuitive business coach, a podcaster. Leslie Sprague, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here and have this chat with you.
Yeah, me too. I was looking forward to this. And I heard your story, but I definitely can't tell it anywhere as close to as good as you can. Nobody out there can. So I'd love for you to share your story and tell the audience a little bit more about yourself.
Amazing. Okay. I am an intuitive business coach and I help my clients to connect to their intuition so that they can use their internal GPS system to navigate their way to their success. So I am a small town mom of 2 kids, and my sort of background story is that I left an active role in my family company to get to fully launch and my intuitive business. And so yeah, I stepped away from something big and, consistent to make, I guess, in a sense, my own comeback as something that was on my heart and calling from that. So yeah.
Awesome. I mean, leaving something that is a sure thing, like a family business that's been successful, to go on your own and get into this, I call messy playpen of entrepreneurship and purpose, is what it is, right? Because it starts off messy and you got to kind of mold it and make it your own. And that could be a scary thing for a lot of people out there. So congratulations, number one, on making that move, going out of your comfort zone and being able to do that, because there's not, there's people out there who won't be able to do that. They don't have, the guts to do it. So it definitely takes guts. So I want to congratulate you on that first. And then I want to kind of dive into, what the challenges were doing that. What type of business was it, the family business that you left behind?
So we were a transportation company. So we are in the dairy business. So we go to all of our local farms and pick up the milk from there and then take that to the cities to the processing plants for production. So it's a pretty steady business. Like you don't have to go out and look for your clients. If they move into your territory, they're yours. And so to go out on my own and have to market myself and put myself out there, it was a whole different area and playpen, I guess, so to speak, because you have to learn how to connect to that side of you, the truth, who knows that you're meant for more and who knows that this is what you are meant to do, and drowned out the noise of like what society tells you or what other people think you should be doing, and get into the truth of you and what you're here for, and listening to that whisper instead of all the noise that we are infiltrated with the news and everybody's different opinions. When you get in touch with yourself, that is your GPS towards your destiny or success, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you said quite a few things there that are important for the audience to pick up. And I want to point on one big point that's really vital for success, especially when you're looking to build a business as an entrepreneur and looking to lean into your purpose. And you spoke about drowning out the noise and the naysayers, because they're gonna come, right? Those dream stompers are gonna be there. And sometimes they end up being people that are close to us, who are doing it without realizing it, because it's not their purpose, it's your purpose. And to drown them out is so important. But I'm curious, before the drowning out happened, and before you knew what your purpose was, what was the turning point for where you were in the family business and you decided, you know what, enough's enough. I'm gonna go, follow this feeling that I have, this
Yeah.
pull, because that's what intuition is.
Mhm. So for me, I would say was almost a bit of burnout, because the dairy industry is 24/7. It doesn't care if it's a Saturday, it doesn't care if it's Christmas Day. It is ongoing. You can't tell the cows to stop for Christmas. Don't produce any milk today. It's Christmas Day. Just hold off and we can resume tomorrow, kind of thing. It doesn't work that way. So it was a 24-hour business. And as a mom with younger children, getting those 1 a.m. phone calls saying that the dairy was broke down or whatever, it just got to be a lot. And on top of that, we were also dealing with grief because our dad had passed, which kind of threw us into, I have two brothers. It threw us all into this ownership role at a very instantaneous rate. And I just said enough was enough, and that I knew that I wasn't meant to live life that way and to constantly have all that stress on. So I decided to take the leap and leave an active role in that company, and trust that my brothers knew exactly what they need to do for themselves too.
Yeah. Yeah. And that overwhelm could be challenging for a lot of people. And a lot of people end up staying in the overwhelm and just trying to deal with it and saying, it is what it is. But you said, no, you know what? I'm not going to stay in this overwhelm. I'm going to make the shift to move away from this, catabolic draining energy that I have going on and turn it to anabolic energy. And, first off, I do want to say my condolences for your father. I know what it is to lose a parent, and that's never easy. So you were going through all that emotion and change in your life while you're making this decision. So at what point did you have a shift to know, all right, you know what, this is what I want to do. This is what my purpose this is what I believe my purpose is because I have this calling and it's pulling on me and tugging me away. Where did that come about? You made the move, you left the business, but when did you know that, going out and being of service and being a mind coach and being able to help people tap into their intuition was going to be something that you were going to work with?
I would say that this has been a bit of a thread throughout my later years, like early 20s-ish. Before I started working full-time at the company with my dad when he was still alive, I was in business insurance and was they at a networking event trying to get myself out there, and they had this like sort of fair kind of thing where you could learn about different businesses, and there was this one booth that was talking about energy healing and offered like a mini session. And I say, like, from that moment, I fell down the rabbit hole. And haven't come back up for air, which I am so grateful for. But it just opened my eyes to a different way of being, and I think actually, like, my dad had initially planted the seed. I remember as a kid, he would always listen to, like, personal development tapes in the truck, and I was that kid that was like, "Oh my god, why are we listening to this?" But it became such a dominating thought, and I had started my business while working there and, like, would take a leap and then get scared and come back and retreat, and then, like, this became a cycle, and I was like, "Okay, at what point am I just gonna decide to go all in on myself?" And that was it. Like, I was fed up with the way that my life was unfolding and the constant stress, and I was like, this, and being in a family business as well, it was creating tension with my brothers as well. And I was like, no, this isn't how this is supposed to go. So I chose to step away. And yeah, so it's been that common thread. And I had decided to hire mentors to help me to see and, like, reflect back to me what I couldn't see in myself at times. And I think that piece is huge. To have that support system that's, like, going where you want to go, getting the results that you want to get, and then taking that leap, trusting that it's all going to work out for you. And sometimes the noise that we have to quiet is the thoughts that are inside our own head.
Absolutely.
Those little fears that creep up, am I doing the right thing? We'll never know if it's the right thing or not until we actually do it. And even if it is the quote unquote wrong thing, taking that path and choosing it, you will never know. And if it's the wrong thing, quote unquote, then there is still a lesson for you in that growth, because it's that growth that is actually what we are seeking.
Absolutely. It's so important. You mentioned a couple things that I think it's really important for the audience to pick up on. Number one, how vital mentorship is. I mean, I can't stress it enough. Go out there, get yourself a mentor in whatever it is you're looking to do, because that's the way you're going to grow. that's the way you're going to be able to learn from the mistakes that the mentor that you're choosing went through, so that you don't have to go through those same mistakes. Man, that's so important. I'm so glad that you mentioned that. And also, the whole thing about not letting fear get in the way of your success, not letting fear get in the way of your growth, because fear will cripple you if you allow it to. And when you start learning to face your fears, to overcome them, you utilize those resilient muscles, perseverance muscles, whatever you want to call them, right? To be able to take yourself to the next level whenever something else comes up that's challenging in your life, because you learn from those mistakes, and you learn from being able to face the fear and overcome it, so that this way it doesn't have that much of a crippling effect on you going forward. So it's important to always face your fears.
Mhm.
Mm.
And actually, like, I have a reframe for fear too. Like, fear is actually what I believe to be an indicator that you are about to grow and expand and step into your truth more. So when you frame it that way, it sort of like acts as a homing beacon, like calling you home to yourself. Because when you work with those mentors who have what you have or have created something similar, you are attracted to those people because that skill and those traits are already in you. And those people were brave enough to step out and do that so that you could step into your full light. And it's the same with us and our clients as well. Like, when there are people that are specifically waiting for you to step into your greatness because you are that solution or that um thing that they need.
Yeah, yeah. I believe that we're all created by our creator to go and walk and live in our purpose.
Mhm.
And it's our job, our duty, to go out and find what that purpose is, find what it is that we're meant to do, so that at that point we could co-create our life with our creator, whether you call it God, the universe, infinite intelligence, whatever you believe. Uh, but finding that purpose so that you could co-create your life of what you're meant to do, that's what you're put here for.
Mhm.
You gotta go out there and do it. And I love the way you mention how, fear is something that is a stepping stone towards you being able to find that purpose, towards you being able to move the needle in your life towards going towards that purpose, to get closer to fulfilling that purpose. I'm curious, Leslie, through this transition that you had, going into entrepreneurship, what are some of the fears and challenges that you faced along the way of building this thing?
Mm, yes. And like, I feel um there are so many, and I feel like this is an ongoing process. And I feel like your listeners need to hear that right now too, is that once you reach the level that you think you want to be at, there is going to be a new mountain that appears, and you'll have to go through this cycle again. And because we're always growing and evolving, and so that's part of the journey, is that it's not a like one and done thing. Um for me, I had fears of, like, there was self-confidence fears coming up. Like, can I really do this? Can I, like, do people want what I have to offer? And then just that constant sort of self-worth pieces too. Like, am I worthy to serve these people at the level that I see inside my head? And once you realize that, like, you're given thoughts and ideas, and because they're made for you, they're made specifically for you. You wouldn't have that if God didn't want you to create it. God gives you these ideas so that you can take it and run with it. I don't know if I fully answered your question. I went off a bit of a tangent there, but yeah.
Oh, you definitely did answer it, and it sounds like there was some limited beliefs that you had to crack through
Uh-huh.
in order to get to where you are. And you know those are challenges. Those limited beliefs of I'm not good enough. Can I really do this? You know, and oh man, this is not what I'm supposed to do. I mean, maybe you start questioning what you're doing.
Mhm.
So those limited beliefs that pop up in our head of you know, I'm not good enough, or you know, uh, I'm not financially ready, or you know, doubting yourself. Self doubt is really what these limited beliefs come from, right? It's about doubt and worry. Um, and once we crack through those, in the magic that starts occurring, because that's where the growth is. And I believe when you go through these old belief systems and you start cracking through those limited beliefs, that's where you start uncovering core values in life and realizing what your core values are so that you could utilize those core values to be able to empower you to be able to overcome challenges that come up in your life when these limited beliefs continue to come up. Because guess what? Just because you crack through a limited belief doesn't mean it never comes up again. They continue to come up, but you learn how to overcome that belief system. So, what are the core values that you uncovered and that you continue to use now that help you when challenges do occur in your life?
Mm. The One of the biggest things is that the only limits that are upon us are the ones that we put on ourselves. So we create our own limits by the beliefs that we choose, the thoughts that we continue to entertain if they're self-doubt thoughts. But when you align your thoughts and those values, like, for me, the core value is like truth of
Mm.
what is in my soul. And yeah, that is the biggest one. And having faith in what you do, like being your biggest cheerleader, self cheerleader, like reminding yourself that you've got this, that everybody is loving what it is that you are bringing to the table. And it's in those moments of in between where, you're doing that, but the universe or God hasn't caught up and reciprocated back to you the energy that you're putting out. It's holding that faith. Faith is another. Holding that faith that you've got this. Like, we never know if we are 3 feet from gold. So when you have that viewpoint, like, this next post is going to be exactly what people need to hear, and keeping that frame of mind, um, having getting true to yourself, your trust, and trust in yourself, and then having the faith to walk even when there is that moment of doubt creeps in, reminding yourself that, no, I've got this. exactly what I'm meant to do, and being able to reframe those moments of when the doubt creeps in, looking at it from a different perspective. Okay, if I thought of the lack of clients as, like, instead of viewing it as a bad thing, maybe you're just getting them warmed up and they're sitting on the fence waiting for you to fully show up. Maybe there's that piece of hesitation for you. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I love that, man. It's like switching the mindset from that lack mindset to abundance.
Uh-huh.
And you speak about like how being true to yourself and that authenticity is one of your core values. And man, that's so important for the listener out there, the viewer. Always be true to who you are. Because if you can't be true to yourself, you're not going to be true to anybody else out there. You gotta be real to who you are, man. It's so vital for your success, for your mental, for your whole being.
Mm.
And then you talk about how, because that doubt does creep up, and it's so important to have faith in something greater than yourself that's gonna you know galvanize you to be able to unlock your fullest potential.
Yeah.
Because guess what, man? We're not doing this shit alone.
No.
We're not succeeding. We're not unlocking our fullest potential on their own. There's something greater than ourselves that brings us to do that. You want to call it God, the universe, infinite intelligence, whatever you're comfortable with. Maybe it's a tree outside. I don't know, but there's got to be a higher source greater than yourself that's going to bring you to unlock that. And when you start leaning into that faith of knowing that there's something greater than you that's going to empower you to be able to overcome these challenges that you're going through in life, man, that's where the magic happens, because then you start really believing it, and that's when it starts happening. And guess what, man? That's how manifestation occurs.
Mhm.
You start really believing in yourself, you believe in your creator, and you believe what it is you're meant to do to be able to pull you towards that purpose and away from the challenge that goes on in your life.
Uh,
Because guess what? These challenges, they're going to keep coming up in life. Life isn't going to be a straight line to success. Those challenges are going to come up, and you got to be able to navigate through those challenges. Why not lean into your faith to overcome them challenges rather than fear?
yeah. So good. And I think another key point too is your decisions. Like, when you are ready to make a decision, whatever it is, don't waver. Don't question if this is the right thing or should I do something different. Check in with your heart and then fully decide from there. Instead of being in this wishy-washy energy, go in with that full conviction, that full dedication. I spent a lot of time in wishy-washy or second guessing whether I was doing the right thing, and that just created more results of the same.
Man, I love that. That right there is such a golden nugget, and I want the audience to really understand how important and powerful this is. The power of decision making is so vital. And every single successful entrepreneur that I know, that I've been around, that I've come across, every one of them has that in common about making a decision and sticking to it and not second guessing your decisions. You know what? You fucked up on the decision you made and it doesn't work out. So what? Guess what? There's a learning lesson behind it. You learn from that situation. But when you continue to second guess yourself, oh man, that's a recipe for disaster. Because no, you number one, you're not being a leader when you can't make a decision. Number two, you're not being true to yourself. And number three, you're going to constantly procrastinate in life. It causes procrastination. It causes, that toxic energy in your life that you don't need. Always be certain about the decisions you're going to make and move forward with it. You want to make a decision, make it and move forward. Don't overthink it. Because once you start overthinking, you're going to just,
Stew in that forever.
yeah, and that's the worst thing to do. So Leslie, I'd love for you to tell the audience. I mean, you told us a little bit about what you're doing. Tell the audience what you're doing now and where they could find you.
I am an intuitive business healer and coach, and I help my clients to connect to that intuition. Because you'll hear people say that like they don't have intuition. This was a skill that I built. Your intuition is like a muscle that you develop. And when you listen to those whispers of the soul, you begin to follow that GPS system. And if you think of like the GPS in your car, that guides you to your destination in the best path available. Your intuition does the same thing for your business and your life. When we take the time to slow down and trust yourself, your heart, that the universe has your back, or God is always guiding you, then that will create the path forward for your success. So that's sort of how I help my clients to navigate. And as you are building that muscle, sometimes it helps, almost like a mentor too. It helps to have that person reflect back what you're already picking up, sort of that confirmation. And yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Leslie and Co XO. And that's probably my best platform. My podcast is currently called the Energy of Manifestation Podcast. But we are in the midst of like a rebrand. I feel like there's a emergence, and like there's a new energy that's coming through me. So it's still all the same great content, but it's just going to be rebranded a little bit different. So
Love it. Love it. And man, I think intuition, I love what you're doing out there, number one, because I believe that intuition is vital for our success in life and in business. And there's a need out there in businesses to learn that spiritual component.
yeah.
And you mentioned how it's not something that you just have, kind of build it like a muscle. And I'm a big believer in that also. And through my journey of sobriety and personal development, it's something that I've worked on. I continue to work on daily because it's how I connect with God, which is my higher source, through that intuition muscle, through being able to sit with myself and listen to that still voice. What's one quick tip you could give the audience for being able to build that muscle?
Oh, yes. So this is my favorite. So the first thing I would do, actually, I'm going to guide you through like a little visualization piece. So find yourself in a comfortable seated position. Connect to your breath. Close your eyes if you want to. Feel the rise and fall of your chest with the inhale and the exhale. The next piece is to add in connection. So by connecting to your breath, you're already connecting to the present moment. You're already connecting to your self. You're centering yourself. And then the other piece we're going to add in is grounding. So grounding, you can either do outside barefoot with your feet on the grass, but in a visualization like this, I like to have you visualize tree roots coming down from if you're standing, through the soles of your feet, if you're sitting, coming out from underneath you, then allowing these tree roots and using your imagination here, because people get caught up in how can I, like, what if I don't see it? It doesn't matter. Let your imagination play, because what's right for you is right for you, and we all have our different processes. So allowing your imagination to take over and imagining tree roots going down from underneath you, going all the way down into the ground and through all the beautiful layers of Mother Earth. Deep, deep rooted roots going down to the core of Mother Earth, tying a giant knot around that, anchoring yourself there, pulling yourself into your body and into your heart space. So bringing that energy, imagine that the core of Mother Earth is vitalizing those tree roots. And sometimes I like to visualize it as like a golden light. Imagine that golden light coming up through those tree roots, through the layers along the tree roots, and bringing that energy up into your body, feeling it coming through the soles of your feet, around your ankles, legs, up into your hips, twirling up and around your torso, bringing that energy up into your upper back, chest, and shoulders, down your arms, and out the tips of your fingers, and then bringing that energy around your neck and up and around your head, creating this space of stillness, allowing you to connect to this current moment, ground yourself in this present moment's energy. And then the last piece is to trust. Trust what comes through for you. If nothing comes through, it's okay. Some people hear messages, some people see, some people have a stronger sense of touch or like a feeling, like a gut feeling. Allow your senses to play. And another way you can connect is, once you've done this sort of practice, journal. If you have a specific question, allow yourself to sit here for a moment, connect to the energy of the question, and then you can journal from this space. For me, it just feels like everything sort of falls away, and you create this space to receive the messages, what you're needing to hear in this moment. And then taking a deep breath in, and when you are ready, coming back to this space.
Thank you for that, man. That's awesome. Love that. It's so important to be able to sit with yourself and collect your thoughts, collect your feelings. There's so many different ways to do it, and you just showed the audience one amazing way. But it's so important. Whatever way works for you, make sure that you find ways to be able to sit with yourself and be able to connect. Leslie, a couple of questions that I ask all my guests. The first is, what does the word purpose mean to you?
Is like, it's your destiny. It is your soul mission for this journey that we are on in this lifetime. And your purpose is here to help you expand and grow so that you can experience the fullest amount of joy, abundance, love in this lifetime.
Of happiness. Definitely what purpose is about. And when you hear the word reforge, what comes to mind?
That is carving a new path, breaking away from the old structures and creating something new, beautiful, and true. Doesn't mean that the old way was wrong, but it didn't work for you. Yeah.
Love that. And there's somebody out there today who is looking to reforge their life, and they don't have the know-how, they don't have the tools, they don't know where to begin. What's one piece of advice that you could give someone that's looking to reforge their life?
Take a chance on you. You don't have to start big. And I think that's where a lot of people can get discouraged, is that they think they have to go from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds flat. It doesn't have to be that way. But when you connect to the part of you that knows, because there is a part of you that knows what your next step is, trust that it is right, and it is, you know what you need to do. When you allow yourself the space to get quiet, that whisper will become louder. And you do know. When you say you don't know the next right step, perhaps it's something simple like creating an Instagram account for what your purpose is. It doesn't have to be something bold all the time. Sometimes the smallest steps are the biggest movers.
Absolutely. Man, that is so true, because those small steps is what takes you towards your greatness. And when you take those small steps at a time, probably get there faster than when you take those big steps and end up falling back 5 more steps. So, Leslie, I'm curious, what's one thing the audience doesn't know about you that you enjoy doing for fun?
Oh, that is a good question. I feel like I am in a transition phase with a lot of things. Like, I spend a lot of my quote unquote free time with the kids, and there's a little bit of me that's like, well, what do I do for fun? So honestly, I think the answer is just pouring back into my business. And like, that seems cliche, but that is like, this is why I do it, because it fuels my soul, and that is my fun.
That is awesome, and it's not cliche at all, girl. That's what it's all about. When you're living in your purpose, that's the fun right there. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. It's amazing. And Leslie, this has been incredible. I thank you so much for coming through today. I really appreciate it. My gratitude is through the roof for you doing this.
Thank you so much for having me. I knew that our conversation was going to be powerful, but I think this even blew my expectations. So good.
Love it. Yeah, this was great. This was great. We got to do it again one day.
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
For all the viewers and listeners out there, thank y'all for checking it out. And I'm going to ask y'all for the same favor I always do, man. LFSS. Like, follow, subscribe, and most importantly, share, because there's somebody out there today that's not watching the episode, not listening, and they're looking to reforge their life, whether it's in their health, their finances, their business, their relationship. and they don't have the tools. They don't know the how. And sharing this episode or past episodes with them can help them reforge their life. Stay productive, stay profitable, and stay blessed. Yeah.
You've been listening to Reforge Your Life with your host, Joe Rivera. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. To learn more about Joe Rivera and how he can help you or your organization reforge your life and regain your place at the top, head on over to withjoerivera.com and follow Joe on all social platforms. The Reforge Your Life podcast was produced by Thrive Loud Productions. Thanks for listening.